Hello, this is Kyle Moore with Mech 330 Programming for Industry 4.0. We are working on visualizations and randomizations. Yeah. So basically, we are creating some dice. So we created a 10-sided dice and a 20-sided dice, so a D10, D20. And we put them in its own separate module or file. We created a class. So from random, we imported randint, so random integer. We created a couple classes, class D10, so this represents a single die with with 10 sides. So we defined the init, the initialization. We are initializing the number of sides, so self.numsides equals numsides, so 10. And then we are rolling, so we're defining another function here, roll. And then we are returning a random integer between 1 and self.numsides. So basically, between 1 and 10 is going to return a random number. Same thing for the class.d20, except for it's 20 sides instead of 10, and it's going to do the same exact thing. And then for the actual code itself, we are importing some libraries. So from plotly.graph objects, we're importing bar and layout because we're going to be making a bar graph and playing with the layout. And then from plotly, import offline. So basically what this is going to do is this is going to allow me to save the files. And then it's going to save them as HTMLs, but we'll go over that a little bit later. And then from the die module, so this here, we're importing D10 and D20. And then here we're creating a couple variables, and we're calling the two different classes. We are creating an empty list that we're going to because we're going to be rolling a lot of numbers. So here we're just going to do 50,000 to begin with. I know that's a lot, but we're assigning number of rolls variable. We're assigning that to 50,000, and then we're going to do it again as 100,000. Just kind of want to see the difference between the two. And I'll show you what we're looking at here in just a second. For this for loop, for roll num and range number of rolls, so in 50,000 rolls, we are basically for the D10 and the D20, the results, we are basically recalling the roll function from here for each one of the D10 and D20. And then the results we're adding those numbers together. So, if you roll two 6-sided dice, you're going to add those two numbers to get you a number. So if you roll a 1 and a 5, you rolled a 6. So that's basically what this is saying. But we're going to append each one of those numbers 50,000 times into this list. And then we created another list called frequencies and made it empty. And then for in range 2 to the number of dice plus 1, or the number of basically the number of rolls plus 1, or no, so the number of sides. And we're adding those. So for range 2, because you can't ever roll a 1 when you're rolling 2 dice unless you have a blank side, which I do not. So we're adding both of these sides. So it's anywhere between 2 and 30. So for each one of those numbers, it's going to count how many times each one of those numbers was rolled, and it's going to append all of those numbers into the frequency list. And then here we are creating a variable, and we're making it a list. This is going to be the x values for the bar graph. So it's basically going to be this same range that was up here. And then, which I guess I probably, nope, we're good. Okay, and then we created another variable called data. So data is going to be, it's what's going to give the x and the y values the x and the y axes their values in the bar graph. So bar. So x-axis equals x values, y-axis equals frequencies. And then we're going to configure the x-axis, and we're going to title it dice roll. And then the y-axis, we're going to title dice roll frequency. And then another variable, my layout. So we have layout here. So the title of the bar graph is rolling D10 and D20 50,000 times. And then x-axis equals x-axis config. So basically here. So it's gonna, the x-axis is gonna be dice roll, the y-axis is gonna be dice roll frequency. And then offline.plot. So this is basically what's going to create the graph and open it. And it's gonna open with each one of these variables. So the data, so the bar graph, and then the layout, my layout is gonna lay out that bar graph the way we had set it up. And then we are creating number of roles, or sorry, we're creating a file name, and the file name is going to be it has to be a string, so string number of rolls plus dice rolls. So this is the file name is going to be 50,000 dice rolls, and it's opening up as an HTML. So if we hit Control B, what that's going to do is over here it opened up, and boom, right there. So this is what the Plotly library does, and we imported the bar graph and the layout and stuff like that. So yeah, so as you can see, there's a pretty good curve. We've rolled 2,254 times, and then we've rolled well, I don't think those numbers are correct, but that's just, I mean, we did roll 2,254 times, but anyway, all right. So, but yeah, as you can see, all the way up to about 2,500 is where some of these middle numbers have been rolled. So that's a pretty nice little curve there. Now if we come over here and we're going to say 100K, and then 100,000, and then we're going to do Control B again, and as you can see, it actually kept the same basic curve. So I mean, it's all statistics, right? But so if you have, I think I got rid of that other one, didn't I? Nope, it's right there. All right, so here's the 50,000 times, and then here's the 100,000 times. So yeah, that's it's pretty dang close to the same curve there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, that's basically it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.